Hello, everyone. Welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. Today, we've got two incredible decks. Lamby has decided to take ladder over. I guess it annoyed him that people were like, maybe you're not so good if you're not high on ladder. Well, he's now number 2 in Asia to number 3 in the world, Hurricane. And in addition, he is number 12 in the world. We've also got a Chaos Pro special, a Cerebro 2 Nico deck. That is extremely cool. Let's get started. First, I'd like to invite you to subscribe. Please hit that sub button. We bring you the best decks in the meta before the meta adjusts to them here on this channel. We also do massive giveaways pretty regularly. If you're interested in getting great decks that have high win rates before other people know about them so that you can take advantage of them, please hit that sub button. It helps us out. It's free to you. All right, we believe in deck credits here. My cat is literally about to jump on screen with us, so if he gets here, sorry. Our deck credits are Lamby. You can find Lamby at the socials below, and Chaos Pro. You can find him and his socials below. Remember, he has an underscore at the end of his Twitter name. Lamby is arguably the best tournament player in Snap. I don't think there's much argument anymore. He gets a bajillion Infinity Borders every season, but he didn't play much ladder until the ranked leaderboard, and so he decided to climb on it and has done so. He very quickly realized Loki still busted and rebusted Loki. Chaos Pro has a totally unique take on Cerebro 2. I don't usually love Cerebro, but this one is very cool and very fun and worth checking out. We're also going to look at my shop for Saturday into Sunday, and we're going to look at the two bundles currently in the shop and talk about whether they're worth it or not. Finally, our giveaway is kicking off on Tuesday this week here on this YouTube channel. It'll also be on our Twitter at SnapJudgeCast and on Marvel Snap Zone, where you can today find Sleeper Decks of the Week, an article going over 10 decks that I think are worth playing that the meta is not necessarily totally ready for. Next, this is the Lamby Loki deck. It has fundamentally two game plans it alternates between. The first game plan is really obvious and simple. You get Elsa down, you have a lot of cards in hand, you have Loki, and you play their deck. If they don't have Mobius and you can do this game plan, it's almost always right to make this the plan you go for. It's extraordinarily powerful still. Collector is back to being a bajillion power. Be wary, because he's back to being a bajillion power, he can get shunged. The other game plan is to basically abuse Nico Minoru. You can abuse Nico Minoru with Kitty Pryde and Jeff. Those are the two key parts here. As you do so, you build up a nice big board, and you can remove a key ongoing with Rogue and kill a key card on their side with Shang-Chi. Collector here is still a great card, thanks to Maria Hill, Snow Guard, and Falcon returning all of your 1-drops. This is a extremely powerful deck. We'll talk about some other stuff with it as we go through the. First, replacements. If you don't have some of these cards, you're going to need Loki, and I think right now you need Snowguard. Look at this deck. There's no way to put two cards in your hand from a single card, I guess, other than Falcon, and you really want that. You can try Agent 13 here, but I think it's a serious loss. I would replace Jeff with Nightcrawler and Nico with Agent 13 were I changing this deck up. There's also some argument for Quinjet coming back in, or even Sentinel. I personally prefer the way I have it suggested here. Now, Kitty has been actively bad for me in my own testing for Loki outside of this deck. If you are struggling with identifying whether your game plan is to Loki or not, Kitty is going to continue to be bad. But when your game plan is not Loki, Kitty is phenomenal. Kitty is phenomenal because, well, Elsa is still great, right? Elsa 2/2 giving +2 as you fill a lane. Kitty still is getting +3 every turn that way. It's not +4 every turn, but it's still absolutely stellar and giving Collector 1. That's a lot of power in this deck, right? Like, every time Kitty fills a lane, she's gaining 2 from Elsa, giving 1 to Collector, and gaining 1 herself. That's a lot. It's hard to give up. But unless you're really confident in it, I don't think Kitty is right. I think I'd replace Kitty with Nightcrawler. If you don't have Jeff or Kitty, now you're looking at Sentinel, like I said before. The last card I think is really worth talking about here as not for everyone is Rogue. So there's a lot of ongoing in the meta right now, and Rogue can annoy that deck, but isn't great against it because she's getting a random one of those cards. For that reason, I found that I generally prefer Cosmo. Cosmo has the dual ability of protecting Collector and stopping other nonsense. Cosmo and Shang have a little bit of counter synergy sometimes. You have to be aware of it. But if you're smart with where you Cosmo, you're not just dropping him. He can completely shut down a Thanos Dex draw, or energy. He can completely rock the face off of a Shang-Chi that's trying to kill a collector. That's my take. Do what you will with it. All right. Loki still works, no doubt, no question. You'll note that nowhere on this list of plays is Nico Minoru. You sort of play her whenever she's best. Got a bad location, play her with the location ability. +2 is fundamentally always good. If you can duplicate either Collector or Loki, that's a snap, stuff like that. Your turn 1 is Maria Hill over Snowguard over Kitty. Maria can give you something so important. I love getting her out on turn 1. Then you can go into an important on-2 card if you see it. It's really powerful. Sometimes you get like a Luke Cage and you realize they're about like then on turn 2 they drop a Scorpion. Your turn 3 suddenly includes Luke Cage, right? Like stuff like that is just a very, very powerful play. Or you can get a second Elsa, second Collector, so on. Maria is great. Snowguard is the next play just because you want to keep your hand nice and full. And then Kitty. You can alternate Kitty and Snowguard based on your hand. If you've got Loki already, Snowguard goes up. If you've got the Elsa stuff ready to get going, Kitty goes up. Turn 2, I think, is almost always Collector, is better than Elsa, but it's close again. You still have 2 more turns at that point to draw Loki, so you're reasonably likely to do so, because remember, America is fundamentally thinning your deck for you, and now the kitty is here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but that's Atticus. He is now sitting with me. Oh, you can't see him. He's right here. He decided to come lay with me. He's Atticus. He's part of the video now, even if you can't see him the whole time. Okay. Oh, let's get back to the video. Sorry about that. He just jumped and laid on my arms. Okay. So Collector is better than Elsa, unless you're going to Loki. Sorry. And if you're going to Loki, Elsa's not as much of a priority. Instead, you would like to drop a 1 and Falcon back your other ones to hand, just to keep that hand nice and full for the turn 4 Loki. I really do prefer turn 4 Loki with this, although once in a blue moon, it's like turn 6, because if your hand is really big, that's like a 13, 14 power last turn play, a Collector's on. And the other 2s are just less important. And then you can play another 2 with Snowguard, generally over Maria and Kitty. Turn 4 is Loki over 2/2s, usually. Turn 5 is Loki and a 1, or Shang if you need to. And turn 6 is just simply everything you can. That's the deck. That's the play lines. All good? Again, note how hard Kitty is to really fit in this. If you're not Loki and Kitty is very, very hard to fit in. You're just trying to you'll do it like on turn 4, you'll do a Jeff and a Kitty, right? A Jeff, a Kitty, and a Maria would be ideal, but you only have 3 other ones, so it ends up like kind of turn 5, it's okay. You can Loki and Kitty at that point if everything has gone like completely perfectly. But there's a lot of decks where you really want to Loki on 4, which is I think one of the things lost, because you want a turn to set up. Think against Shuri when you Loki out a Sauron. You really, really would like a turn to play that Sauron, right? To get rid of the negative abilities on your cards. So Loki on 4 is often important in a lot of matches. All right, variant talk quickly. I opened spotlights for this kitty. Nico was my first pull, and I wanted that kitty, and I wanted that Hip Phoenix, so I opened 3 more. I don't know what that was. Something popped. That jumped. I love this kitty. We've got our Noir Maria Hill. Noir is the only art I like nearly as much as Hips. This is a only a 3-hip deck. 4 is our goal, but what are you gonna do? We got Elsa, Collector, and Jeff. Beautiful hip art on all 3. I want pretty bad. I love this Snowguard. I have the Spotlight one. I like this one better. This is my personal favorite Loki, my Art Adam Shang-Chi that I have gold. Jane McKelvey and Art Adams are 2 unbelievable artists, so happy to have both of them in this deck. I call this Rogue Cozy Rogue because she's adorable. And I really like this Falcon with the giant like bat wings. It looks like really cool. And finally, of the 3 Nikos, I was 1 spotlight away from the Spotlight Nico. I decided I like the Midnight Suns better, so I'm just going to go with that. I think this is going to look great with a gold background eventually. There. All right, our next deck for the day is Chaos Pro's Cerebro 2 Nico. This is a brilliant use of Nico, straight up. You've got the +2 power, which you're like, but I don't want to give +2 power in a Cerebro deck. Yes, you do if it's Cerebro or Mystique. You've got Location Change. Cerebro loves that. And you've got Copy a Card. Cerebro loves that. You've even got the Destroy to Draw 2, which Cerebro loves, especially with X-23. Fundamentally, besides that, it's your standard Cerebro deck. It's got the Hazmat Luke Cage thing going for it as a late game, like hey, you don't be as strong now kind of play. You need Nico here, but X23 is not needed. We'll get to it because I'm not sold on Yandu either. I'd actually rather run M'Baku, Uatu, excuse me, M'Baku, Uatu, if you need a one, or Magic or Brood if you don't need a one. I think Uatu has reasonable value here in that, like, if that third location is bad, you can get in, is locked, you can get into it nice and early with Uatu, or you can learn that maybe you want to, if that, like, Nico spell shows up where you can change location early, you know if you want to use it there or not. Nambaku is nice and general in these decks, just jumping in as a 4 to 6 power anywhere can win you the game. Alright, turn by turn and snapping. This is a very cool deck. Chaos War is worth checking out for creativity alone, although cool person as well. Turn 1, X23 is better than Nightcrawler, is better than Yandu. Turn 2, Sinister over Luke over Goose. Generally speaking, I prefer Sinister out because A, Cosmo's in the meta. I like to get Sinister down before Cosmo can annoy me. And B, a lot of ongoing is in the meta, so Luke can be a little unsafe. I never really play Hazmat without Luke. I understand that you can, but I think it's too dangerous. You can drop an early Hazmat, but I wouldn't do it on 2. It's more of a turn 4 play, and then you can drop Luke on turn 5, just turn 5 or 6. Turn 3, Storm if you can. If not, you're just continuing to develop your board. Remember to keep an eye out for Nico spells, because if you're going to copy Cerebro, you're going to, like, play Nico over everything on turn 2, so you can play Cerebro and get a copy of Cerebro on 3, right? Turn 4, dump what you can. Goose is, generally speaking, my priority here. Wherever they haven't dropped a lot of low-cost stuff, it's like an auto win. Turn 5, Blue Marvel end it 2, or Cerebro, and make sure Cerebro's last so that you can Mystique it. Then it is Cerebro, Mystique, or Mystique and 8. At that point, enjoy your wins. This deck is extremely powerful, and people will run. Again, remember, if you can at all, you want to save Goose, Luke, Cerebro, and Mystique for as late as you can. Although, again, Nico changes things up with her random spell order. Quick variant talk. Sadly, oh, I'm lying to you. We hit our 4. We've got Hip Nightcrawler, Hip Yondu, Hip Goose, and Hip Blue Marvel. 4 hips, as all things should be. More is good, but we're fine with that. This is one of my favorite Wolverines. I opened 1 Spotlight cache this week, pulled it, and was thrilled. I like the Blueprint Cerebro. I don't know why, it just feels really, really perfect for this character. Probably because, like, it feels like it would be in the 90s X-Men show or the early 2000s X-Men movies. I don't love this hazmat, but I'm fine with it. Cage Fighter Luke Cage is the best Luke Cage. Yes, even better than the Hip. I love this storm. It's gold. It's beautiful. I keep trying to use other storms. I have other storms. I don't want to. And this Sinister is from some bundle or another. Who really remembers what? But it was a fairly expensive bundle. But I like Sinister. I think he's a really, really cool character. So I'm happy to have him. Next up, we have my shop for the day. I didn't buy anything yesterday either, just for the record. This one, there's a really cool null here, but for 1200, I already have a spotlight null from the Jean Grey week. It took me 4 to get Jean the first week. I got this null. I'm perfectly happy with this null. We can move on with life. I don't really need a null. I don't play quite enough Destroy for that. I like the Super Scroll in my shop better than the Super Scroll I have, except for one thing. The Super Scroll, not like a Super Scroll, the Super Scroll, which is what this is supposed to be, Clerk, is the Fantastic Four's power. He doesn't have the power of random Marvel characters like Captain America and Wolverine. And the Chibi Super Baby Super Scroll, excuse me, does have random heroes' powers, and I don't like that. It's not comic accurate. Finally, I only have a Pixel Rescue, which isn't ideal. I will, generally speaking, upgrade on pixels, and this variant is nice, but there's a hip, and I'm not spending gold on a variant if there's another hip. On to bundles. We've got the Clever Girl bundle. You can see I bought this. I generally don't suggest people buy this unless you really, really need the tokens or just have an excess of money. If 20 bucks is little to you, or like throwaway money that you'll waste on like 2 drinks, then this will bring you more joy than buy this. But generally speaking, I liked this variant, and I felt like I wouldn't mind having an extra 1,000 credits to like upgrade some stuff. So I did. Right. I don't think this is worth it as a general rule, though. Cash bundles have a higher barrier of entry. They generally are better, and better cash bundles are coming. I'll tell you when they are. Just, again, make sure to keep subbed. We also have the obligatory zombie bundle, and this is just bad value from everything I've seen and read. this is not good value. You're buying this because you want a zombie squirrel. And personally, I don't especially want a zombie squirrel. I don't. Squirrel Girl is one of my favorite characters. And I don't especially love this take on her. So this Squirrel Girl is not for me. Um, that said, like, and the value's not good. The like currency value isn't there. I think this is a save your gold. Um, there's a Christmas bundle coming that has like a coal rock, and I'm all about that. And apparently, this headphone's coming out because the cat insists. Um, like, don't buy this if you don't have to. If you would like a more detailed breakdown on any bundles, type in Savage Yeti and then Marvel Snap or Savage Yeti Gaming. And my friend who does breakdowns of these in video form, like he does the full mathematical breakdown where he explains exactly what the numbers mean, will pop right up for you. And he's worth checking out for that. He's the best I know at it. No offense to several other great people at it, like Wolverthor, because Wolverthor, who you can find at Wolversnap, is also great at it. If you want that in written form, our friend Carolus over on Marvel Snap Zone breaks it all down in writing. Either which way, no one has this as a must buy bundle. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching for so long. If you made it this far, you might as well sub. Also, please remember the giveaway begins on Tuesday for next week's, what's her name? I can remember her name once in a while. For Ms. Marvel's season pass. Peace.